Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about how AMC is not a dead cat and how it never was. AMC has recently been absolutely slaying the box office, and I've got some talk on Gary Gensler and also much more. So stay tuned and let's make some money. But before I dive into the video, I just want to give a massive shout out to the 4,600 of you that have currently dinged that notification bell, because you guys are always the first to watch a new video as soon as it's released. So guys, be sure to drop a like down below, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell if you haven't already so that you don't miss another video just like this one. And just a quick one before I dive in with the key information. Be sure to check out those links down in the description below to get those free stocks with Moomoo or with free trade, to pick yourself up some cool AMC related merch, and also to check out the private Discord and become part of the team. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, ShangChi box office opening set to nearly triple the Labor Day weekend record. This is inclusive of pre and post pandemic as well. It was known that Marvel Studios' Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings would set a new Labor Day weekend record, but not by this much. After grossing an excellent $29.6 million from 4,300 screens on Friday, industry estimates now have the latest MCU film grossings at $70.8 million over the 3-day period. And that matches the opening of F9 earlier this summer and a stunning $86 million 4-day launch. That would nearly triple the previous record set 14 years ago by Rob Zombie's Halloween with $30.5 million. Nearly triple the previous record set 14 years ago pre-pandemic. Clearly, AMC is not a dead cat as it's been absolutely smashing the post-pandemic period and will be returning to profitability soon. And therefore the short thesis for AMC makes absolutely zero sense. Not only is the squeeze play going to happen, but also the stock is not going to fall and become bankrupt because shorts just don't have a clue. Given that a film of this scale has never released on Labor Day weekend before and the chaos of pandemic box office tracking, projections had been conservative at around $45 million for the 4-day period. Therefore, they were still expecting a new record to increase from $30.5 million to $45 million, but it's absolutely smashed that with nearly $86 million in the 4 days. While the current wildly high estimates could go down as the weekend progresses, Disney is projecting a $75 to $85 million total. The result will still be one of the strongest launches this year, on par with fellow MCU film Black Widow. Unlike Black Widow, Shang-Chi is not available as a premium title on Disney+, instead releasing in theatres only for 45 days. Therefore, it's becoming more and more apparent that releasing new premieres on box office only and not releasing them on streaming platforms at the same time is the way forward. With little major studio competition through September, Shang-Chi could leg out very well during this technically exclusive run, which would be a boost for movie theatres trying to convince Disney to join the trend of studios recommitting to a shorter theatrical exclusive window instead of the day and date strategy used during the post-shutdown period. As more and more networks give that exclusivity period to theatres like AMC, it's only going to improve and continue on that bull thesis for AMC and just continue to crush that bear thesis. Disney has also seen success from theatrical activity with 20th Century Studios' Free Guy, which is currently third on the weekend charts with $2.1 million grossed on its 4th Friday and an estimated $11 million 4-day total. That would bring the original comedy's domestic cume, I assume that's cumulative, to just under $95 million, putting it on course to become the first film not based on a previously existing IP to gross $100 million in North America since theatres reopened. Meanwhile, Universal and MGM's Candyman is holding decently despite competition from Shang-Chi, dropping 52% from its $22 million opening for a $10 million 3-day or $12 million 4-day second weekend total and a $41 million domestic cume. The film gave director Nia DaCosta the distinction of being the first black woman to direct a film that opened at #1 on the box office charts, an achievement she's likely to repeat when she joins the MCU with The Marvels in November 2022. Overall, I think this is brilliant that AMC is continuing to dominate the box office and even dominate those records pre-pandemic. Although interestingly, Wall Street isn't scared of top cop regulator, SEC chair, Gary Gensler. Opinion is that it's obvious that everyone thinks Wall Street's top cop is all talk. The fact that the SEC's resources are limited budget isn't increasing, and its staff are underpaid. Are we surprised at this outcome for an under-resourced and underfunded agency? Taylor asked. The US has made a concerted choice not to go after financial crimes in the way we interpret laws, fix broken markets, and fund the agencies that are supposed to write the rules of the road. In an interview with the Financial Times, Gensler said that finance is about trust, ultimately, and he was right. But trust is built by enforcing the rule of law equally, and ensuring that investors have faith that when they encounter a bad actor in the system, that actor will be punished. But that hasn't been the case on Wall Street. Until Gensler changes that, he can make all the speeches he wants, but he'll just be talking aloud and saying nothing. And that was an article written for Business Insider, and I, for one, have to agree with it. Yes, Gensler has been saying lots and making lots of promises, but so far hasn't been taking much significant action. Yes, there have been lots of new rulings put into place, but yet we haven't really seen the impact and the trickle down of those rulings. Maybe these rulings have been put into place but aren't necessarily being enforced and complied with yet, and that's why we haven't seen much of a significant impact. Or maybe Gary is just trying to put into place some rulings that will have more of a significant, substantial impact, but so far that's yet to be seen. And this is becoming such a mockery that the stock market is so rigged even newspaper cartoons are ridiculing it. Here we've got a small spread from a newspaper cartoon. Someone says the stock market is so rigged. Somebody else says, oh please, I work at a hedge fund. The market is definitely not rigged. And he says, I mean, sure, we often short stocks betting that they'll fall and then sell millions of fake shares that don't actually exist to force the price to fall. But that's all legal. The first guy says, no, it's not. And the second guy says, then how come the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, lets us do it? The first guy says, because it's rigged. The second guy says, if a stock illegally falls in the woods and the SEC chooses not to hear it, did it make an illegal sound whatsoever? And this is literally what's happening. Illegal activity and fraudulent activity is going on in the market every single day, but the SEC aren't paying attention to the largest explosions. Therefore, if there's a massive amount of illegal activity and a massive explosion in fraud, but the SEC chooses not to hear it, they're thinking, did it even really happen in the first place? But really, that is not the answer, and that is not the approach that the SEC should be taking. They should be focusing on those massive amounts of illegal and fraudulent activity. But as this previous article was also hinting at, that's not what's been happening so far. And somebody else has a different viewpoint on the zombie stocks. There seems to be something rather obvious that we're all overlooking. The purpose of shorting all these companies into oblivion is not just simply to never pay proper taxes on the profit. The real purpose is to get around antitrust laws that the USA and other countries have had around for ages. This is the 21st century's method of accomplishing a monopoly without directly breaking competition-related laws. Because there's now a lot of antitrust, anti-competition laws out there that says that a company can't take over another company or can't buy out another company that competes in the same space if it would create a monopoly. All it takes is a quick Google to find some of the recent takeovers that have been prevented because they would breach antitrust and anti-competition laws and create monopolies, such as Comcast and Time Warner, AT&T and T-Mobile, US Airways and American Airlines, and many, many more. Therefore, every single company that's been shorted to nothing has had funds that have gone long on the competitor that becomes the de facto monopoly by 2016. Literally every one. Over 90% of these companies have been absorbed into a product or service that Amazon offers, like Toys R Us, Sears, Kmart, Blockbuster, 24 other lesser known companies, and potentially JCPenney soon enough. Had Jeff Bezos and company outright bought up the competition, they would have quickly been hit with a myriad of antitrust lawsuits, and it would have been very obvious what the plan was. This way, however, everything's been indirect. For a bit over a decade, the elite have orchestrated their monopolistic takeover of more markets than we realise. If Amazon or another large company wants to take over another company, but it doesn't think that it can because of antitrust and anti-competition laws, well, why not just get somebody to bankrupt that company for you instead so that you can automatically absorb it into your business? So what can we do? We hold on to the majority of our shares, even past the squeeze. This is about more than getting wealth back. This is about change. They need to be stopped. And every last one of us has an obligation to do the moral thing. Hold till they crumble into oblivion, just like the companies they absorbed. Then we use the money taken back to change those laws. And finally, I wanted to recap the AMC chart and the MACD ready for next week. As we can see, this moving average line is holding up nicely, looking for another move upwards next week as well. The MACD is also staying very bullish, just about at that break-even point, looking again for another move upwards. Looking at this trend line, it has definitely not been broken, and therefore next week should be another good week, hopefully pushing us past this sticking point of $48.50 and all the way to $52 and above. Looking at those reverse repos, we've now had 18 days in a row of over $1 trillion in the reverse repo facility. Again, nearing off the week or ending off the week, near around $1.1 trillion. And again, the US Treasury is not really in a good position either. Yes, on Wednesday it did bring in $93 billion, but then subsequently lost around $60 billion the day after. Guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you think about Gary Gensler not doing his job, and about AMC continuing to smash it in the box office. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.